Today, I'd like to talk to you about Law Practice Exchange, a law firm brokerage company that could help you buy or sell your law firm in the future. It can also help you figure out what value your law firm has. Recently, I sat down with Tom Linfesti of Law Practice Exchange and discussed what all this meant to small to medium-sized law firms. Have a listen.
My name is Tom Linfesti. I'm an attorney, a CPA, and the founder of the Law Practice Exchange. At the Law Practice Exchange, we are there to help create continuation strategies for law firms. The way we do so is we look for your successor and we find those sellers and buyer matches in the marketplace overall or within your own firm, and we help you on that internal succession structure. We also help firms defining what is your true value by pinpointing and doing a valuation for your law firm, a benchmark to helping on all of those strategies and creating your continuation plan.
So, Tom, the what is your true value thing? That has really interested me recently, because growing up, my father's an attorney, I'm an attorney, and growing up, I was always under the impression that your law firm only has value to you. Your clients, under all of our ethical rules, have no obligation to go with you to you sell. And so I have just always been indoctrinated with the idea that my law firm has no value. And so to think about kind of pinpointing what it is and what things in my office give me value is fascinating to me. Can you kind of go into that a little bit more? How you do that, and what are things that you look for?
Absolutely. So when we look at, valuation of a law firm, most law firms, especially, the small to mid-sized firms, and even some of the larger ones, are really made up of a couple pieces of what we really look to create, which is what amount of value, not just that you have within the firm, but that you can transfer to somebody else. So we call that transferable value. And really, if you look at what you've built probably within your firm, the two components are usually your individual, or what we'll call personal value of that attorney, that owner. So, you're there, you have referral relationships, you have clients that you've built those relationships with, you have your knowledge, right? Your process, your expertise, your personal brand, right? Those in the community that know you. And then this other component that I think a lot of lawyers forget about is that firm value, right? So we have personal value and then the firm value, and especially more so today. And of course, Zach, you know this based on, tech, but lawyers are being required or doing it as part of their growth plans and efficiency plans to invest in their firm. So firms all have websites. Firms have built and customized, CRM and practice management systems. Firms have built, checklist systems. They've trained other people, right? Their attorneys and non-attorneys to operate on these softwares and systems. And so all of those kind of build, firm value, right? And so when we pair that together with that personal value and everything else, we get what could be transferable, right? And then what we do is we focus on everything from how do we accomplish that? Right? So how do we take that personal value and that firm value and transfer it over to somebody else? And we do that through transition, right? So all of sales or exchanges that really we do in the marketplace are transition-based. They take a little bit of time, but you have built value. The clients keep calling you. The referral sources, they keep coming in, website leads, phone calls. You take a vacation and you're busier when you come back than when you left. That's all value to somebody else who would love to have those clients or other things.
Right. Well, I guess I think about what are those things that when I get started, when I hang my shingle up right off the bat, what are the things that I would love to kind of like skip ahead to, thing four? Like what are those? So like those would give my law office value. And then the actual processes that we're putting into place, like you said, the training and all that. So as far as the transition portion of this, well, I guess let me kind of back up. My first thought in looking at this is, okay, well, I see that other people might have value, but does my firm have value? And I can go through all that process, but are regular folks able to take advantage of of, kind of selling their firm or purchasing their firm. And by regular folks, I guess I mean small to medium sized law firms.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why truly, I started the Law Practice Exchange, almost 10 years ago, back in 2013, was because bigger firms had the opportunities to, you could build a practice within a big firm
Hmm.
and you could retire. Right. But our solos, our small firms, what was their option, especially if they didn't have, kind of that internal option of an associate or junior
Hmm.
partner to take over. And so our first practice that we were able to kind of pair and make a match and a brokerage deal was a solo small town attorney. And it was somebody that we got that was looking to come home, and they wanted to come home and hang their own shingle. But instead of starting from scratch and wondering where that first client was going to come from, they acquired and kind of became a partner with this, senior retiring attorney in this small town. And they latched onto their brand, right?
Right.
That selling attorney brand. And immediately there wasn't a question of, where the client's going to come from. They're all in the door. It wasn't
Right.
a question of could we build these rates, because those were being billed by the firm because of the history, the reputation. And then they also had a natural mentor, right? They
Hmm.
had this attorney who had been in this market, could mentor on referrals, how to deal with client aspects, everything else. So as I tell everybody, every firm has value.
Right.
It's just, how high or how low that goes. But every firm, every attorney has built some form of value.
Well, and so that kind of goes to another extension of the, I guess, like regular folks question is, I live in a pretty rural part of the country. And if I'm, and I always have, like, I'm in a rural part of the country. I've always been in, more rural Tennessee and whatnot. Thinking about whether or not I can sell my firm in a rural area. Well, obviously you can, or there's at least potential to, because like you said, somebody might be coming home, somebody might want to extend their practice. And I guess the other thing is, this doesn't sound fundamentally different than the idea of transferring your firm has always sounded.
Absolutely.
We're not talking about um, tokenizing your firm, for lack of a better way of saying it, and saying, okay, here's the package, here you go, we're done with you. Talking about putting two parties together and creating this relationship that has them transfer their value.
Absolutely. Yeah. The legal, the financial structure can take, there's lots of different options, lots of different structure components.
Hmm.
But at the heart of it, you're exactly right, Zach. It is that apprentice, kind of apprenticeship type of structure in a lot of it. Or as we tell everybody, I mean, we create transition-based exchanges,
Right.
right? So it's not a throwing of the keys and walking out the door, right? Like we've
Yeah.
looked across the aisle at, other professionals, other marketplaces, like our dentists have created a marketplace where literally they can sell their dental practice to somebody else
Right.
and maybe or maybe not stick around for a week or two, right?
Right. Right.
And there's a lot of patients, that stay. Something like 80% of patients stay
Hmm.
even when there's like no notice. If they stick around, they're going to help retain that 20%, right?
Yeah.
Law's different, right? Law is different. And in the smaller markets or anything else, there's the opportunity. You just may need a little bit more time, right?
Hmm.
You may need a little bit more kind of exposure or whatever else. And you may need to bring somebody, like that example from outside the community, who sees it as a good business opportunity. You've built something, you're paying yourself, you've built value within your firm, you're serving clients, community. And that's what we'll try to offer to another attorney or another law firm who may be interested in geographic expansion.
Hmm. Well, so I guess the natural thing for me is, okay, well, I've gotten into this. I've found somebody that wants to buy my firm, or I found a firm that I'd like to purchase. And Law Practice Exchange is kind of brokering that connection. How much are you guys able to, or do you advise on that transition, on creating that transition and setting up? Because I imagine you have a lot of experience in seeing what transition styles and types work.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of our goals is not just to talk about it with, who usually engage us, which is that, the owner of the law firm, the seller, right? So we'll go through, what do they think it's going to take to successfully transition? And then we really build that into our, how to find a buyer or successor strategy. But the other aspects are, if we bring those parties together, there's this, meeting of the minds, right? The letter of intent or the terms agreement on the financials, the structure. But then we always have due diligence. It's that time of saying, hey, we've got this preliminary agreement, but we haven't yet, finalized the transaction, right? Is that a merger? Is that, an of counsel, a new partnership structure, whatever that legal financial structure will be. But that's the point too, that we start talking to both parties about what the transition plan needs to be. And that's a little bit of what seller sees the need for. Buyer, because maybe they're not as an experienced attorney in certain areas and need a little bit more legal mentorship, right? Or they need a little bit more marketing or management. But that is one of our goals, is to actually develop what we call the transition plan, so that as we move forward to closing, all parties know what to expect, right? They've kind of bought into that plan. And we actually just have somebody on our team, like that's their job, like to go in and discuss with the parties. Actually just got off one post closing, that our job is not done even when the closing happens. It's just to make sure that the parties are moving along on that transition plan successfully, communicating properly, everything else to really make it work, right? So it's a key component, and we really try to devote, specific human resources, but also, attention, reminders, charts, otherwise, to developing that transition plan.
Well, so I guess one last question would be, where is this service? Do you what parts of the country is Law Practice Exchange in?
Yeah, we're a nationwide brokerage and consulting. So we've got, clients right now in California, clients, of course, in North Carolina, Florida, Michigan, really all over the place based on need. We work with cooperating brokers in certain jurisdictions, where needed. But our platform is, again, it was built for lawyers, by us as lawyers. And our goal was really to offer it as a nationwide presence and a nationwide database. Because one of the biggest things that we really believe is, your buyer's probably not in your community, right? And, it may be a law firm that's in the community next door or beyond that. And we have a lot of movement from out of state, attorneys or law firms looking for, that opportunity in your state. And so for us to be across the country is important, not just in serving lawyers where they may need us, but also in bringing kind of our database and growing that for potential matches as we go from different locations and different jurisdictions as well.
Great. Well, Tom, thank you for being with me here. If people want to learn more, or if they want to peruse your database of some of the firms that are being offered, they can go to lawpracticeexchange.com. And I know you've got contact information there, and they can start the process there if they like, right?
Absolutely. And we're, again, happy to be a resource. So if you have questions, we've got lots of great resources on the website. Otherwise, just contact us and we'd be happy to discuss and happy, hopefully, to assist.
Great. Sounds good. Tom, thank you again.
Yep. Thanks, Zach.